KJ, welcome.
Thank you.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Appreciate it.
Very excited to have you on here. I think you kind of represent the people that we're looking for who, turn their dreams into reality and really embody the lifestyle of growth and self-improvement. So why don't we start out with, how did you get to where you are today? All I know so far is that you play women's rugby and you're a big player. So let me hear some more about that.
So that's a big story. But I'll start. My parents met playing rugby. My mom played at the U of M, and my dad was the coach, so it was a little scandalous. But my brother and we got into the game immediately when we were kids, and I think that's the biggest reason why I got to where I got. But it's just because I had the experience, and I mean, like the instinct that you have that comes out on the field is like needed. You can't just like those reps really count. So I made under 20 USA when I was 14, and then went through there. And then after U20s, I was told I was too small to be on the women's team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so then this is 15s. There's two different styles of rugby. So sevens is what was in the Olympics. And I was like, okay, well, I think I'll be good size for sevens. Like, let me try it out.
Yeah.
And so I dropped out of college and got a few jobs so I could pay for tryouts. And I made the World Cup tryout, which was insane. Yeah. And then next thing I know, I'm going to Russia World Cup 2013. So
that's crazy.
Got my in, and then I got contracted right after that.
Nice. That's dope. That's a dope story. You dropped college to do all that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And all paid off.
A lot of sacrifices.
Yeah. Take risks, people. Take
risks.
So what's something that kind of, motivates you every day? What keeps you going every day when you wake up?
I think it changes every day. There's always a next chapter that you want to accomplish, or you don't want to leave the world the way you came into it. You want to leave it in a better place. There's a lot of different things that I would think would motivate me, but sometimes it changes through. Yeah, I really love the community, and working as a firefighter, I think, has really made me value the Minneapolis area and trying to leave it in a better spot.
Wow, that's awesome. I think it's crazy. I mean, crazy good that you're trying to leave the world a better place than when you came in. I think that's something I try to do as well, and hopefully we can help the young guys or girls coming through the system or whatever of life, and put them in better shoes than we were in. So I think that's an awesome thing. What would you say to others who are also pursuing kind of the dream of whether that's they want to be a professional women's rugby player or just a firefighter?
Right. Well, I think sacrifice is a huge part of it. I think a lot of people get their dreams and their ideas, and they don't realize what's entailed in that journey. And as soon as they come up against some struggles or some adversity, they will second guess their dreams. Or believe people when they say they can't do it. And I think that's a huge thing to put in perspective, that everyone you talk to or get advice from, even if it's someone you look up to, it's just an opinion. And you can change. You can do anything you want to do. Yeah,
I think that's awesome. I think for sure a lot of people get told no and they crumble under pressure,
Absolutely.
So I definitely agree with that as well. Tell me a funny story about your childhood, if you have one.
Well, I did tell this to my team just recently. They were asking for funny rugby stories, and I started playing for the high school team when I was in 5th grade, and had my little like rugby shorts, and we played rugby since we were little, so like they were really old and like deteriorating, bad. And I got a breakaway, and I got through, and then someone like grabbed me by the shorts to tackle me, and they just ripped clean off. And I was young, so like didn't know the spandex game. Like I had no idea. And so I'm in my tight whities, and my dad's my coach, and he's like, "Go, score!" I'm like, "Shit!" So I just ran off and I scored. Oh my God, I was pink, just all is horrible.
Funny. Yeah, horrible. That's crazy. Those make your experiences though, great memories within the sport.
Yes.
So you talked about being a firefighter. What are some hobbies/activities that you like to do outside of rugby or being a firefighter?
Anything active. I love snowboarding, longboarding.
Okay.
Anything.
Yeah?
Yeah, I love hanging out with my dog, going on runs.
What kind of dog do you have?
He's a hound pit mix.
Oh, okay.
He's like a 70-pound brindle cutie pie.
Cutie pie? Yeah. I was thinking about getting a dog soon, too. I think I was getting a mini cockapoo is kind of what I was interested in.
There you go.
Because I met one, like, on my rooftop at my apartment, and it was somebody else's dog, and just came out to me and was, like, super loving, cuddly, friendly, and I was
That's
like, yeah,
awesome.
this might have to be the one.
They're needed.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was cool. So what does a lifestyle of self-improvement and growth look like to you?
I would say constant. It's not a straight line of success and improvement. Like, I haven't met anyone that has gone that route. It's a roller coaster, and we're always going to have our ups and downs. So just giving yourself grace, and then keep pursuing your dreams.
Right, that's awesome. One wish: if you had $1 million, what would you do with the money?
Well, first I think I'd pay off my house, just because that interest is crazy.
That makes sense.
Leftover money, I would probably give to. There's a few different nonprofits that I'm just a huge fan of, like Girls Inc. They promote women empowerment and like being bold and fierce, and it's really cool for inner city communities, which is needed. Yeah. And then there's also like Hindsight Foundation. We have one program in Minneapolis area. Okay. And it's like, what would you tell your younger self? Like hindsight 2020, what would you tell yourself? And it's just like all these things that you really wouldn't learn in school, like we were talking about earlier. Yeah. It's crazy, you know, like there's so many things that we figure out the hard way. Right. Yeah. I think it kind of works hand in hand. You know, you sometimes want to learn the hard way, but you sometimes want a little guidebook to help you go through it. For sure. So what's one time where you faced, either with rugby or being a firefighter, faced adversity in your career? I think it's hard because we've been through so many roller coasters with the Olympic team. I would have to say the year before the Olympics, we had 3 different coaches being released and being replaced. Oh, wow. And our second coach, she came in and she hasn't coached the game for years. And so she was just kind of behind on like new rules and stuff like that. And my role for the team was to bring concerns from the players to the coaching staff and be that middleman. Kind of like a captain. Not, but like not. I was like the person that wasn't afraid to say what we needed to say. Right, okay. Yeah. And so she didn't agree with anything I was saying, and she was like, KJ, I really think this is just you that thinks this stuff. And it's just like, okay, well, like, there's no argument I can tell you, and I'm not going to say names, so it is what it is. Right. And so I got released, and this was 8 months before the Olympics. Wow. And had a torn labrum in my hip, and it was like, do I get surgery? Do I wait? Kind of stuff. And my dad was just like, no, you're not getting surgery, push through, they're going to call you back. And it's like, what are the odds, Dad? Yeah. Like, they're not going to have another coach this year, you know. And luckily, she got replaced, and the next coach had one person to bring in, and I was lucky enough to be that person. And 3 months to prepare for the Olympics, and we got to go. Wow, that's awesome. It was just That's crazy. A crazy story. Yeah, it's a roller coaster. But like, it's like going home and living with your parents again, being a dropout. Like, your resume looks like nothing. Like you haven't done anything. Yeah, so it definitely gives you a reality check. Yeah, I think that's a lot of things people don't see outside the athlete world is how much we really like put our bodies on the line. Whether that's we are injured or already injured and we still want to play and we can't get it fixed till like the end of the season or you're in like a playoff push. I think it's really taxing, and I think it's really cool how like mental health awareness is really coming up now, especially for, you know, athletes as well. Absolutely. And drawing the spotlight on that, and hopefully we can encourage the future generations to be aware of their mental health and not just let things slide by. I agree, definitely. Yeah. So what's one of your favorite inspirational quotes? I don't have. You don't have one? I don't have like, because I have things I think about, but I don't have like the names, so I don't want to be that person. So, I mean, I had something that I thought about and I put in my journal, and it's not necessarily a quote, but it's just a thought of like, you can always relate, but you shouldn't compare. In a sense of like, everyone's worst day is relatable. Mm-hmm. You know, whether it's breaking a femur and missing a whole season,
right,
or you know, like having an anxiety attack and like multiple things mental health wise adding up.
right.
You know, it's still your worst day and it's still relatable. Mm-hmm. As soon as you start comparing, it's like you're either taking value away from the person you're comparing to or yourself.
Right.
And that's just something that I think we can all learn.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then give ourselves some power.
Yeah, that makes sense. What's one thing you've always wanted but still don't have? It's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, yeah.
I would say a family, honestly. I think we sacrifice a lot of time. Mm-hmm. And especially as like a female athlete, you would have to retire to have kids.
Yeah.
So I definitely am missing out on that.
Yeah, with family. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I mean, me leaving at 17 from high school to go play in Spain, I just had a little brother who was like 3 at that time.
Right.
It was very tough on me, like emotionally.
Right, that quality time.
And you don't really get that time back. No. You know, luckily my mom was able to be making enough money to come visit me like once a year. But other than that, I only saw her like for a month during the summer and then like 2 weeks for Christmas. And that was it. And I think that's, you know, family time is invaluable. So sometimes athletes take that risk of playing in Europe or another city outside of their hometown, and it's taxing eventually, but
it is.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's a hard balance.
It really does make you enjoy the time that you do have with them.
For sure.
I think me leaving, like right when I was leaving, I was, you know, in that teenage mode where you're like, oh, I want to do everything myself. Mm-hmm. But it actually, like, me and my mom would be arguing a lot right before I left. But anytime I'd come home to visit, we'd almost be like closer because we spent time away from each other. And I think it kind of works hand in hand like that.
I do agree.
Okay, last question, or 2 questions, kind of. What are your 3 worst qualities that you think?
I feel like the worst and best go kind of hand in hand sometimes.
Okay, that was the next question was, what's your best after? Or a couple of your best qualities.
I don't know, I can't think of 3 off the top of my head.
It's okay, if you have just one, we'll be good to go.
I think the work ethic, you know, just like you said, the sacrifice that it takes. Like, for my team and for my career, I think my work ethic is really great. Mm-hmm. But then it's also like my quality time with my friends and family. It's taxing on them as well.
Right.
So I would say work ethic is one of them. And I'm very passionate, which can also be very negative in some lights. Mm-hmm. I think fighting for equity within men's and women's sports is a huge passion for me. And
right.
If you're a CEO, you might take that the wrong way, you know. But I mean, I'm just trying to get the right vibe across and get everyone heard. But that's another one that can be positive and negative. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I think times are changing. I'm all about adapting to current situations or times, and I think, especially me, as I grow my brand, I really want to make sure we incorporate women, minorities, everything. You know, we kind of want to be the opposite of a corporate world, and kind of be the face of that. And we do have women's clothes coming out soon, so we'll definitely be getting you in that. Cool. But anyways, thank you so much for spending time with us, and I think it's a great story that you have, and I'm excited to see you compete with the women's rugby team. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. No problem.